How are you guys? We are here with our episode of Beyond the Breakpoint. I have an absolutely wonderful guest here for you guys today. It's going to be an incredible episode. We're going to talk about a lot, especially the issues going on within the Canadian economy, especially affecting real estate, which I know is a big topic for everyone here. But I think it's going to be an incredible episode. So with that, I'll let my guest introduce herself properly. But Alicia, I'll let you take it away.
Hi, thank you so much, Zach. So my name is Alicia Pedicelli. I'm the Chief Revenue Officer at the Home Equity Partners, and I'm super excited to be here today.
Thank you very much. Yes, I think it's going to be an excellent conversation, so I'm excited to get into it. One of the first things I wanted to learn about Alicia is tell us about your journey, especially to become a chief revenue officer. Everyone knows you can't just step into that day one. So coming out of Western University, what's your journey been to get you to that position?
Yeah, so I spent over 20 years in banking, various roles throughout my time there. And, while I really enjoyed it, I always wanted to do something more entrepreneurial. And so when I reached a point in my life when my kids were a little bit older and more independent and, life had settled, I decided to take that leap. And a few years ago, I was introduced to my now business partner through a close mutual friend of ours. And when my business partner, Shale, shared his vision for what he wanted to do, it really resonated with me. And, we began working together almost immediately. So, this idea of bringing these home equity sharing agreements to Canadians and offering a new way for people to access the equity in their home with flexibility and transparency, it really appealed to me. It's been
No, that
it's been
that
an
makes
exciting
complete
journey.
sense. Yes, no, especially like you said, being able to access the equity is very important and being able to do it in a way that people can feel safe and comfortable with the way the economy is moving, the way interest rates have been really volatile lately. It's very important to be able to have a secure deal there. So I understand your trust and faith in the company that way. That's amazing.
Yes, thank
What
you.
are some of your day-to-day processes, especially as the chief revenue officer? Like, what are some of the things you have to deal with on a common basis?
Yeah, so as a startup, I mean, we're really kind of all hands on deck when it comes to most things. There's not such a clear segregation of duties, but definitely I'm working a lot with various business partners in terms of growing referral network and really educating people on what the product is. Also, exploring ways that we can partner with different preferred partnerships to offer perks to our customers and create more value and create more of an ecosystem. Certainly, we're always going in this type of business, we're always going to be fundraising. And so there are a lot of different components right now, but really just everything involved with getting a business up and running, the marketing, the promotion, the advertising, all of those things.
I get you, especially doing startup work. Like you said, all hands on deck is the best way to describe it because you are in every area trying to help out with everything until roles become a lot more decided and who's going to be doing exactly what as the ball gets moving. So I get you entirely there. Are there any specific trends in your industry or patterns that you notice going on right now, especially as we lead into 2026 with new changes in technology and everything going on in our country?
Yeah, I mean, technology has definitely changed the way that Canadians look at finances and what they expect. Not just with finances, but I think with almost every industry now. I mean, speed, efficiency, transparency. These are just kind of table stakes at this point, and so I think that that's going to continue to evolve. Having said that, it's still a very human-centric industry. I mean, we're dealing with people's homes and their finances. And so we really take the time to balance, using technology, but still having that human touch to what we do.
No, that makes entirely sense. I get what you're saying there. Because you're right. There's a lot of new evolving opportunities, so that's really cool to hear about. But never losing sight and losing aspect of the importance of human connection, it's definitely huge.
Yeah.
Are there any other opportunities or challenges that you guys are facing, whether you in your job role or especially as a new startup for the business as a whole? Is there anything that you're facing right now?
Yeah. I mean, I would say the biggest challenge that we've encountered has been education. I mean, trying to introduce a new financial product to Canadians is challenging. And, we sort of like have this small banking system. We have very basic uniform products across the providers. And I think Canadians by nature more conservative and a little bit more skeptical. Um, Part of what we battle is when people hear that we have no payments, they immediately associate us with a reverse mortgage. And there's still stigma around that product. It's definitely becoming, you know, more familiar to people and more accepted, but there is still a tiny bit of stigma. And so what we notice is that people tend to shy away from it without even wanting to learn more. And
Yeah.
I think they're very protective. And, there are so many scams and different things that happen out there nowadays that people are just really skeptical. But what we see is that when they learn more about the product and how it works, that skepticism shifts pretty quickly. And a lot of people see the value and think it's really innovative and exciting. So, I mean, this has been in the US since the early 2000s. This is not a product that we just came up with overnight. It's a highly successful, proven model. And we know that it's going to be really beneficial to Canadians. So just getting over that initial skepticism, really getting out and educating people as to what it is.
No, that makes complete sense. And like you said, especially learning about how the US has done systems like this for a long time is a great way to give an example that it isn't something new. People have been doing this for a long time, and there are positive adjustments that we can make to try and make a lot of Canadians feel a lot more financially secure. So that makes complete sense.
Mhm.
I just want to continue else is what are some of the objections that you might typically get or even questions that customers typically have, especially for Canadians where it is a new service? What are some of the things you hear pretty often from potential customers?
Yeah, so I think a lot of it is, again, like just not wrapping their head around exactly how it works, assuming it is something that it's not, looking at the reverse mortgage model and thinking immediately that's what it is, and then just kind of closing their mind off to it. So, overcoming those objections, again, just educating them, like a lot of people, like what's the catch? I mean, there is no catch. We're very transparent about how it works, and we do our best to provide insight into a client's exposure, explain everything very well. Happy to speak to anyone in the client's like immediate network. If they have family or children or anyone that they want to work through, we always have clients obtain independent legal advice, and we have a portal where they can see their information and how it works outlined for them. And so there's a lot of communication and transparency. So we're just still learning and having those conversations, but so far I'd say it's going well. Generally, the people that it resonates with get it, and they're happy to be part of it. It's a really welcome solution for a number of people.
No, that makes complete sense. Especially it's important people have the questions like that. Like you said, you guys have the information readily available for people to go access, which is very important so they can, on their own time, go and look at to make sure they understand the product and service thoroughly through, which I think is very important.
Mhm.
And since it is commonly raised, just so everyone who's viewing can have a clear understanding, what would you say is the main distinguishing factor between a reverse mortgage and what you guys are able to do at the Home Equity Partners?
That's a great question. So one of the biggest distinguishing factors is that we have no minimum age restriction. With a reverse mortgage, you have to be 55 and older. And if you're 55, the amount that you're able to access is relatively low because it's based on, lifespan and how much longer they think that you're going to be alive and how much equity there is in the home. So our first client, in fact, was in his 30s. So there is an appetite for people to access a similar type of product, but they're not 55 and older.
Yeah.
So happy to offer that to any age. Another distinguishing factor is that we do not erode any of the existing equity in your home. So with a reverse mortgage, the meter, so to speak, starts ticking on day one, and that interest is accrued and it keeps accruing and building. And so a lot of the equity in your home can be eaten up pretty quickly. Whereas we evaluate the value of the home, we sort of crystallize that value and say, this is yours. We're not touching that. So say we do an appraisal, it's worth $1 million. That $1 million valuation is set aside, and then we strictly share in any future growth. We'll also share in depreciation, which is unique to our product. A reverse mortgage or a traditional loan, you're always going to owe what you owe, regardless of what happens to the real estate market. Whereas with our product, if the real estate market were to take a dip, we would, in fact, in some cases, be paid back less than we originally invested in someone's home. So that's a massive differentiator.
No, that is absolutely huge, especially both factors there. Like I said, like I was unaware, even though I like to consider myself pretty economically in tune with everything that's going on. I did not know that you had to be at least 55 to get a reverse mortgage. And so, especially with everything we see going on, I know I talk to my business partner a lot because he specialized in real estate. Is we see with the current generational shift, is a lot of elder people are now either passing on or handing down their homes and assets to the younger generation. So as people who are millennials, even Gen Z, are coming into these assets, they may want to access more capital through reverse mortgages, but then find out, oh wait, I'm legally not allowed to do so. So that makes sense. I could see a huge pool of opportunity and customers that you guys could then approach for your services.
Yeah, and in fact, like one of the main objections we hear from mortgage brokers and other professionals who speak to clients about reverse mortgages is that, in fact, the children are the ones who don't like the product because that's their future inheritance and they don't
Yeah.
want to see it dwindled away. And so, at least with our product, that initial amount is set aside and protected, and then they're sharing in any future growth. And if there is future growth, that means that the homeowner or their parent continues to benefit from that growth as well. So it
No,
can be
that
a really good
yeah.
alternative.
No, that makes complete sense. And especially, I think a lot of people would find reassurance in the fact that you guys said that if the value of their home did start to take a dip for a bit of time, you guys would not collect as much money from them as the initial appraisal would have suggested. So they can feel a lot more reassurance and security to say, okay, even if things do tank a little bit, we're not stuck having to pay the same bill that we would have initially. So that I could
Exactly.
see that being very huge for a lot of customers.
Mhm.
And so even with that, what would you say? Because I know like real estate is a big thing in the Canadian market right now, especially in the GTA. For the upcoming year of 2026, what are some of the trends or opportunities that you see coming from that with real estate in particular?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would argue this is a great time to get into the real estate market. And so, prices are low. There aren't a number of starts happening in the housing market, but we know that the demand hasn't changed. And
Yeah.
so there will be that renewed demand when the economy picks back up. And for some people who, are bold investors, this is the time when they want to get into the market. And so, some people may want to leverage some of that equity in their home in order to do so. So there's an opportunity for that. I mean, a lot of people tend to lock up all of their equity in their residence, and it's not always the best strategic decision to have all of your assets in one place. And so, one application of our product is to diversify and to look at other ways for your money to work for you rather than just sitting waiting for you to retire or move. So there is definitely opportunity there, I think.
No, that makes complete sense. I even saw that you did a recent interview with CP24 going over the interest rate cuts from the Bank of Canada, and especially
Mhm.
how that was a big decision by them to allow Canadians to have greater access to capital so they can try to get into the real estate market. And like you said, it could be a very good time to buy while things are on this down low right now. But as you point out, which is absolutely accurate, with the amount of demand that we have through immigration and other factors, we know demand is not going away anytime soon, and so that will then cause prices to have to go back up.
Yeah.
Oh, so that's amazing to hear. And then, especially with these changes, is there anything that you guys are particularly focused on going into the year of 2026?
Really just continuing to get out there, market the product. We know that this product is going to be very valuable to a number of Canadians, but it can't add value if they don't know about it. So, thank you so much for this opportunity today to be here and share a story. And we just hope to continue to be able to do that moving forward and letting people know that we're here.
Of course, of course. No, it's a wonderful conversation to have. And like I said, with any startups, there's obviously a lot to have to take on at first. But I'm also curious, are there any particular pain points you guys are feeling your day-to-day process? Because every startup has their challenges, but I don't know if there's anything that's standing out to you right now that's really calling for attention.
Um, that's a good question. I think like with anything, there's just so much to do in so little time. I don't know that that's unique to us. I think a lot of people feel that, especially like I'm a mother. There are a lot of things pulling at us on any given day. And so I would say that, we have so many goals and so many things that we want to achieve. And it's really just taking it step by step and try not to compare ourselves too much to people who have, been in market for years and years and are much more established than we are. Like really just trying to see it day by day, because when you look back, over the last year, like we're very proud of how much we've achieved and how far we've come, but on a day-to-day basis, you can get bogged down in how far you still want to go. So I guess I would say that's our biggest challenge right now.
No, that makes complete sense. And especially like you said, at least acknowledge the work you've done so far is absolutely important and should not be overlooked or be belittled because it really is like a snowball effect that as you start to get that initial work built up, you just see how it adds up. And it's, as we say, compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. And so you really start to see it in effect where although, like you said, there's still a long way to go as to where you'd like to be. When you look back from where you started, you say, "Oh my God, we've made it very far." And you'd be, if you could go back to yourself on that day one when you first started the journey, you'd be very happy to see where you've gotten so far.
100%. Yeah.
That's amazing to hear. Is there any other questions or comments you may have for me?
Um, no, I mean, I'm just so grateful again for the opportunity to be here today to share about our story. I'll just touch on really quickly, like this, my business partner became involved in this because of a personal situation with his very own dad who needed to access money and had been a client of a Canadian bank for 40 years and was denied access to the money because of his age and because he didn't have enough income to support it. And so unfortunately, excuse me, unfortunately, we know that there are people, and we talk to them every day, like people who are in these situations who, um, are sitting on a lot of money in their home and can't access it. And so it really is personal for us. We really do want to help people. We really do want to be another solution for Canadians. And we're just so excited to be in the market and to already have helped a number of homeowners and look forward to continuing to help lots more.
No, that's amazing to hear. And especially, like you said, there's, like we mentioned before, there's a lot of challenge with the startups, especially trying to prove yourself. And there's bigger competitors out there. They may have more marketing right now, more capital. But I think especially having that story where you guys can personally relate to the customers you're serving and especially able to show that, yes, there are bigger competitors out there, but they get complacent with their size. And they think that because they're big enough, they kind of just run the show. And so when you're able to come on and be lean and mean, as they say, I think you can give them a really good challenge. And so I'm excited to see the growth you guys will have over the future to come.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you, Alicia. So thank you very much for this conversation.
Thanks, Zach.
Bye.
Bye.